Okay, can you hear me now? Did that fix it? There you go. Okay. So now, okay, I'm on my mic now. Okay, can you hear that? Okay, guys. All right, so I'm glad you can hear me now. Okay, great. All right. I don't know what happened. I must have somehow hit the mute button there. So, all right, that makes sense. Now I can go in here. Good morning, Michael, and good morning, Ryan. And just let me start off by saying, Ryan at 77 Rockets is going to be starting a live at 7 o'clock our time, that's just 2 hours from now. So please stick around at the end of mine. Or if you leave, come back in 2 hours and catch his live at 77 Rockets. If you can't find it, you can find it in the description on this video. I got my mask on now, so let's get in here now. I'm completing this olive bowl that I was turning the other day, and it had a lot of issues to it, which is why I'm using a scraper. Because if you look real closely, you'll see I've got a crack that runs all the way through here. I got a crack right there. I've got a crack here and in here in the side. I had to work my way through all of those cracks as I was going. So we've got a pretty smooth side on this and everything, but it was a pretty treacherous, and it did come off one time as we were turning. So I've gone away from the gouges at this point. And I really like using these inset curved tool rests. There's a lot of different ones. You can get S curve and others. I really like this one. I'm going to have to raise it up just a little bit though for this tool. And by the way, Ryan, I've got a spare here for you if you'd like. Because I got more than I need, actually. I wish it was about an inch longer on this one. And I do have another one that I could switch to. But it's right along the side here that I'm really nervous. You can hear that clack, 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 clack. And as much as I'd like to go up in speed, I really don't want it to accidentally grab on something in the process. So it's going to be kind of slow and steady here. And we have about an inch to go. I need to get that a little bit off. We have about an inch to go to get to the bottom of this bowl. There we go. Coming at an angle like this, I think I could get a little better. Problem with these is you got to make sure that you're not hitting anything else. You don't want to be too far away from the edge here. There we go. That's a little bit better. May have gone a little bit too low now. I did take the opportunity to sharpen my scraper last night. As you can see, it's working much better. Taking off nice delicate little curls. Not taking a whole lot off at any one time. And we could go with the bigger one here. This one's a little more aggressive. That's just what I'm a little bit concerned with. I don't want to be too aggressive with it. Ryan, what are you turning today? Are you doing some more pens or something else today? You want to let people know what to expect. And oh, good. You put Ryan's link in there. Good. Good. Yeah. Make sure you go there, subscribe. We're trying to get him to 50,000 by the end of the year. He's really been growing his channel lately. Ryan and I are both members of the Sequoia Woodturners group, which is a real nice group of local guys that have an interest in wood turning. And if you are interested in wood turning, I'd really recommend you kind of seek out a turning group in your area, because not only is it good to learn techniques from them, you can also source wood. There's an awful lot of other club benefits besides just learning how to turn from other guys, and some of these guys will just blow you away at how good they are. And they come in all age groups. You know, there's guys that are there that are in their 30s, there's guys that are in their 90s. And you'd be amazed, these guys with walkers that can barely get up and move at all, but they can turn the most beautiful, delicate Christmas ornaments and finials and really unusual pieces, or come up with jigs that you never would have thought of before because they were engineers in another life or something like that. And the time goes by really quick when you're at one of their meetings. But also, you tend to source wood from them. Now, I told it the story the other day on this piece of wood. This was going to be firewood. This was a neighbor's backyard, and he cut it down because I guess he wanted to redo his landscaping. And he said, "Yeah, I cut down an olive tree, and I'm gonna use it for firewood this winter." And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! Can I please have a piece of that?" And he brought me over a chunk. And it wasn't a very big chunk, but I managed to get 3 bowl blanks and at least maybe 4 bowl blanks. And I got some pen blanks out of it for making pens. And in fact, we made one of those the other day on our live, I think it was on the 29th. So if you want to go back and look at that video on the 29th, you'll see the origins of that, the pen I made. Maybe it was 30. Maybe it was 30. I can't remember now. Anyway, it's on my channel. And now we're starting to get down there a little bit. Let's see here. We are right about here. So I need to go about another ½ an inch, I'd guess. I don't want this to become too pointed down at the bottom. I want this to be as wide as I can on the sides here. This one is doing this scraper is doing a beautiful job for that. is a lot like what you'd be doing if you had a carbide blade. If you're using a carbide like this, you go in here and you're taking out a little less material, but you also aren't quite as stable because it's such a small cutting surface here. What I like about using something like this is that it's covering more surface. It's thicker and it's covering more surface. If you can see, a scraper is basically what a carbide tool is. They basically go straight. A gouge can actually undercut the wood as you're going through. When you use a gouge, you're cutting in and you're taking the wood out from underneath. This one, you're scraping it from the top of the wood. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. If you would, I'd appreciate if you'd hit the like button while you're watching or listening in the shop or wherever you're doing, wherever you're at. Hi, Mike. The myth, the legend, yes. You have returned. Yes, so we're going to be going from me to Ryan at 77 Rockets, and then we're going to be hitting it with Mike at the Whacking Shack. And you should really check out the Whacking Shack. He does what he calls Sunday Spun Day, and he spins whatever he's working on at the time. Could be rolling pins, it could be a Celtic cross writing pen, could be a bowl, as he did the other day. He actually attempted the bowl with a live edge on it. So, welcome to my world, Mike. Turning unpredictable wood is what I do. Because predictable wood, that's boring for me anymore, you know? I mean, it's nice, it's fun sometimes, it can be relaxing. But I kind of like the challenge of not knowing what's in there and then figuring out what to do once I find it. So this is one technique you can use, Mike, if you're, I know you use the carbide quite a bit. You see how I'm just pivoting this? You notice how this is hardly moving. I'm just kind of turning it with the wood like so. So you just kind of watch the tool. And it just gracefully goes up. Good. So let's take a look and see where we're at on this. We still got the crack here, but we got rid of the cracks on the bottom, it looks like. It's still got a knot right here. That's got a crack in it. But we're slowly getting away from that, and we are getting near the bottom. We are getting very near the bottom. Let's see. Check myself again. Up to the knuckle. We're right about here. So, because I do have a mitered tenon, I don't want to go too deep and end up going through the bottom of the bowl, but we can do a little bit more. And I think we can come out a little bit more. There's not quite such a U shape in the bottom here. But I don't want to push too hard. Let the tool do the work. We're gonna just go down the side here. And then I'll see if I can get you a little better shot here. What we're trying to do on this part. Okay. We're going to try to go down this side. And spend more time on the side so that it starts to cut away some of that wood. It's a little straighter. It makes it really straight going down. That matches the outside of the bowl a little bit more. Ooh. What I don't want is to start getting chatter. Also don't want to get a hump in the middle. I want to make sure it's flat on the bottom again. One thing I like about olive, when it's solid, you get really nice turnings out of it. Look at that. It's really, really nice. And it smells good. It smells like olive oil. Yeah. So, yeah, I want to get just a little bit more out of this. This is pretty rough right here. If I can avoid getting too rough with that. See, I've gotten a little thinner too, which is good because you don't want to have a real chunky piece if you can avoid it. So I'm kind of tempting things because I got a crack that's up from here and here. It's cracked on both sides, and I've been treating it all along the way. But we do need to smooth that out just a little bit. When you get down here, this is where you start doing your refining. You know, you're going to adjust what the final look is going to be just a little bit. Stay in one spot for a minute. It'll start to kind of eat away. And go very slowly. Instead of just going back and forth. When you go back and forth, you're just kind of repeating the same turn over and over again. If you linger in a spot, it'll start to make a difference. There we go. See how that's starting to look. Yeah, that's looking better. It's pretty flat on the bottom. It's really rough right there. I'll have to catch that when I'm sanding because that crack is really rough. Top here, maybe just a little bit. Gotta be really careful here. Okay. I think we're going to call that a bowl. We're going to call that a bowl. Yeah. Now the fun part, getting this all cleaned up. I'll pull this out just a little bit. Okay. Hey Timber, how you doing, Dave? Good to see you. Yeah, please get some more likes in here. I'd appreciate it. 25 likes is not gonna move the needle much. But we are looking for subs. We are trying to get to 3,000 subs by in the next couple weeks. We're at a little over 2,500 right now. So anybody that wants to subscribe, please do. But please do hit the like button if you're enjoying what you're watching and we're entertaining you. We get up early for this. In fact, Ryan, you should have stayed in bed a little longer. I know you're probably used to getting up this early, but go to work. Okay, I'm gonna. Usually I use my right angled sander, but I think I'm gonna use my straight in sander this time because it's pretty deep in there. Take the tailstock or just kind of get a little preliminary thing going here, and then we'll spin it up. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't worry about the sound too much. I hope you can hear me over it. I know it looks kind of nice now, but wait until you see it when it gets the finish on it. It really makes a difference. Okay, now I'm going to reverse it. Whoa. That's what you got to be careful of when you reverse, because now you got any of those things like this coming and hitting you the other direction, so you can knock it right out of your hand. Yeah, already feeling better. We'll go a little bit lower. I think my battery is dying here. I might have to switch batteries. You buy a $19 drill with 2 batteries and you get what you get, right? But this thing has lasted me 2 years for $19, and I used to do it for sanding and drilling screws into the faceplate. That's about all I use it for is the wood turn. So when it dies, and I'm not gonna worry about it. Go get another. Maybe I'll upgrade to the Bauer this time. I don't know. But you can't complain about 2 batteries. You can't complain about 2 batteries and a drill that lasts you for 2 years for $19. That's a pretty good deal. In my book, anyway. Now, the nice thing about olive wood is it is a hardwood. It's a dense wood, but it doesn't turn like it's dense. It doesn't turn like, say, ash, which is really hard to turn because it just doesn't want to give up any of its wood. Olive turns very nicely, so it kind of turns like a softwood. It has the beauty of a there's a lot of beauty in the wood itself, and it turns easily. It works with the wood turner pretty much, if you understand it. I've spent a lifetime trying to learn to understand that this piece of wood. So we're old friends. that sharp edge off the outside edge here. Pretty good going down there. Okay. All right, go to the last one here. We'll go to the 240, and that's as far as I'm going to need to go on this, I think. At this point, it's almost just polishing it. It's not even really removing very much. Yeah, it's almost shining in there, so there's no sense going to more grits at that point. Okay, let me get my vacuum now. Just so you know, Mike, you got a 4-day weekend? Oh, yeah, because you had Halloween off too, and Monday. I don't know. Around here, a lot of the schools were closed on Friday. I'm guessing because they figured, well, the kids weren't going to be listening anyway because they were getting too tied up. I don't need to worry about Halloween. I can tell you this, by the time the kids got to our house on Halloween night, they were wound up. So we're gonna Okay, I'm going to show you a little something here. I tuned up my vacuum here the other day because it needed its annual cleaning, and as you can see, it works really fast now. It's like sucking stuff. If I'm not careful, it'll take me with it. It is really breathing well. And that's one of the things I know you've heard me talk before about using my sound chamber to quiet down the sound of the vacuum, which it does. But now you can see that it also didn't inhibit any of the power. Now look at this crack right here. That is a huge crack. And that one just showed up again since. So releasing stress, and they're on the outside here too. I'm sorry, let me get you in here. See that crack? It's forming there, and this one here. Yeah, so when you were turning, you sometimes release pressure as you go. got a little hole right there too. So let's put a little of this. Oops. There we go. Got a little bit more than I wanted to out of there. I also mixed up a new batch last night of my tung oil mixture, so I got a nice full bottle to last me a few days or weeks, depending on how much I'm turning here. Might as well do the outside while I'm doing this, so we'll get the whole effect. Extra. Since I got extra, I'll wipe that off in a second. And you can see it starts to come to life here a little bit. The nice thing about having these extra lights here is it really helps you look at the finish and make sure you're not missing a spot as you go. I can even get most of the bottom here while I'm doing that. And get in any little nooks and crannies. Gotta get crannies, gotta make sure your crannies are full. And your nooks. Yeah, I know, dad jokes, right? Okay. So, there we go. I'm just going to let that, so that's a nice saturating amount actually right there. So I'm going to let that kind of sit in there for a minute. I'll wipe off this drop that got on here. Okay. And we'll just let that sit for a minute. What do you think, guys? Is that a nice bowl? Now, this is not obviously not going to stay a gloss finish. Hi, Bjorn. Hey, Johnny. Oh, yeah, you got election day coming up. That's right, and Teachers Day. So is, the day before is the day they tell the teachers what they're supposed to vote on election day? I'm not sure. Anyway. Yeah, I can't take guys. I take credit for the wood. It's the olive wood. Yes, yeah, it is. It is the olive wood, and I'll show you here. I got. Here's another piece right here. Uh-oh. So here's a piece of what it looks like beforehand. And I got another chunk here as well. This one's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because you got this occlusion in here. But I think, and take a look at the four sides of this. You got this side. You got this side where you don't have as much. And then you got a side here. So, you know, how to turn this. My first inclination is to mount a faceplate on here, turn a tenon on this other side here if I can. It's got a crack in it, so I'm not sure. I might have to flatten this out some, you know, and if I can, then I can do that. And then what I'd be able to do is I could turn this, and I'd be able to turn some of this out as part of the top so that it's gone. And that might be the way that I go. I mean, I could go this way because the wood goes in so many different directions. You know, you're going in, you know, you got a lot of stuff going on here. I could turn it as a tall, deep bowl. It would be a real challenge because I'm not sure where some of this stuff is going to come off, and I could lose some of it because it drops off precipitously right here. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that might be a challenge for next week. Hi, Zach. I know Mike. I'm sure Mike's going to be doing a live today, and maybe yeah, it'd be great if you could do a Monday and a Tuesday one also. Be great to watch. Okay, I think this has had a chance to kind of get in the pores a little bit, so I'm going to wipe this one out. Usually you wait about 20 minutes, but I don't want you guys to sit here for 20 minutes while I'm letting it soak in. That's not necessary. So I'm just going to wipe this out a little. And that's the first coat. The same on the outside here. The outside's had 2 or 3 coats now, so it's soaking in pretty good from both sides. And that should help stabilize the wood. When you have when you do a thinner turning, there's a better chance that your finish will go through the wood in both sides and strengthen it all the way around. So sometimes, going this is about 1/4 inch. Sometimes that's the better choice, even though your inclination is to leave it a little bit thicker. It's all on how comfortable you are with your tools and with your how comfortable you are with what's holding it on. In this case, it's a miter tenon, but we're gonna take this off here in a second and let you kind of see what it looks like, and I can go back and put some more finish on this later. I kind of like the not gloss finish on these, but some people like the gloss finish. I don't know. Let's take this off and see where we're at. Now, this is all that was holding it on. That little 1/8 of an inch or so. Let me wipe this bottom. Turn that over, and you can see what the bowl looks like. Let me highlight the light here a little bit better. There's the outside, there's the inside. And I think we'll call that one done. Okay? I'm just going to set this over here for a little bit to kind of dry out a little while we move on. And it'll be totally dry in another 20 or 30 minutes. Where we are. Hi, Nicholas, Jennifer. You like that? That's olive wood, Jennifer, if you don't know if you've been following along. But we're going to switch out now. Now this is going to be a little funky at first, because it's, as you can see, it's got a high spot and a low spot, and when I go to turn this, it's going to wobble some. See that wobble? So there's a lot of wobble to take out of this. There's this right here from the saw cut. And originally I was going to take that off, and I thought, no, it's better to have people watch it, and who knows, if it goes flying off, it might end up being one of the highlights, because it seems like YouTube always picks something flying off to highlight when it makes those for you. Hi, Glenn. Welcome in. Please hit that like button if you haven't already, so we can get a few more of these the numbers up. I'd like to at least have 100 likes or so. We hit 300 the other day. Okay, so let me get my tools all up on here, and we will get started. I'm going to change out my rest. like I said, Ryan, I've got two of these. So if you're interested, one's got a little bit more of a curve to it than the other one, but they're both pretty cool. I've also got two S curves out here if you'd like to try one. And, oh yes, I don't know if you saw this the other day, but here's a couple of those olive blanks that I made for turning pens. So if you guys are interested, or Ryan, if you're interested, let me know. But there you go. That one might make a really pretty pen. It's got a lot of nice coloring to it. Almost looks like spalted maple. Anyway, get my helmet on here. Protect myself against myself. And put my tool rest on here. Give you a better view. Yeah, it's got a real angle to it. Look at it, it's like this much here, and then it's like right there. So it's like that much difference. Really angled. We're going to see what we can do with that. There's going to be a lot of beating me up for a minute here, I think. So wish me luck as I dive into this thing. Nope. Just trying to find the right angle on it. There. Let's see if I can get in a little bit closer now. And I can pick up the speed just a little bit. I'll take that off of there if I can. Oh, it's stuck right here. First couple times I'm just trying to get it a little more rounded so that I can pick up the speed. Okay. can now get in a little tighter, so there won't be as much bouncing around. Still got a gap of about a ½ inch or so here from one end to the other, but we'll start getting it a bit better. Much of a gap, so there's been a good bite in there. And getting close. Because once you can get in there, you can undercut the shatter. See there? I was able to undercut the chatter now a little bit, so should be able to start getting in there. Let's see. It just fades away right here really bad. That's all. Okay, well, it is at an angle. Come from the other side. There we go. Most all of that now. There. That's just a little work, but it's okay. We still got a flat spot here, a little flat spot here, a couple places, but we're getting down, and of course we got this knot here too to deal with. And my fear is that it'll come flying off. And I'd rather try to keep it as a part of the look. I think it looked cool. So I've got to be a little bit careful as I do this. But now I can spin. There's almost no wobble now. Now we can go up in speed. Okay. I'm going to switch conventions here a little bit. See if I can do something with this. I know this is mostly an interior tool. Can't use the scraper on the outside of the bowl. I'm going to clean this out. Okay, that's using a heavy-duty scraper on the outside of a bowl, and look what that did to the finish. Look what that did. Smooth it out. Now, I've still got a couple flat spots to go into, but that took all that roughness out of there. And I think I'm going to switch blades here, and gouges here. As I get underneath the flat spot, pretty much, except right there, looks like we're pretty much under the flat spot now. Okay, good. I'm going to switch to the back for just a minute, just to get that kind of squared away before we go to fashion any more of the bowl. Whoop. A little too close. There we go. See where we're coming in here. That knot is still in there, and I may need to put a little super glue on that, or a CA glue on that, just to make sure it stays in. I think that might be a smart move. What do you guys think? I think we're gonna CA glue that in there. Yeah. So it doesn't feel like falling out. Nice thing is you really won't notice the CA glue. So I can go ahead and saturate it. You're not going to notice the CA glue because it's dark anyway. And of course we'll get underneath that later too. I want it to soak in just a bit before I spray this on here. What do we got going? 1:30 Eastern time. Great. Thank you, Mike, for that. Hey, new beginnings here and here. Great. Oh, I got all you guys up early this morning. Aren't you supposed to be making breakfast for the kids or something? Or I guess maybe it's, well, yeah, they should be up right now. All right, well, I got 1 hour to go here. We want to lead into Ryan's. Ryan's starting at 7 o'clock on the 77 Rockets live. So check out Ryan at 7 o'clock, or I should say 1 hour from now, wherever you happen to be. I'm just going to reinforce this too while I'm thinking about it. I don't like big pitted holes if I can help it. By the way, I know you didn't ask, but this is sequoia wood. Okay, I think we're in good shape there. All right, there's just a little bump in the road there. Please keep hitting that like button if you can, and we'll try and keep you entertained for the next hour, or most of it anyway. We'll try and get this bowl done in an hour. Let's move this off a little bit. And I think what we're going to do here is we're going to do something a little different for the base. We're going to create a base. Okay. And I got to get this curved up first. Got to get that a little more straightened out. Okay, we are flat across. Okay, now I can flatten this out and show you what I wanted to do decoratively. Let's get that little bump out there. Yeah, that's super good. It's burning my eyes a little bit there. Okay, good. That looks pretty good. Okay. I do have a little bit of worry about that crack, but we'll deal with that as we go. I'll set my I think that's about where we'll be for that. Sorry, too. All right.
mortise this tenon a tiny bit deeper than I usually do, because we're going to want put some of these away a little bit deeper than I usually do, because I want to put this below the surface of the foot. Okay? Because of this crack that I have. Okay. So because of this crack, I want to put this deeper than this here, so that it's pushing against all of the wood and not just against this part of the wood here. And I want to get a little bit cleaner edge here. There we go. That's a little cleaner. Okay, good. Put it on that. That's really nice and smooth. That's smooth. That feels sanded to 240 right there. That's how nice these scrapers and can do if you keep them polished and keep them ready to go. Now, as I said, I have an issue with this crack. Okay. And some of my medium glue here if I can. I'm just going to treat that. I don't want to get into where it's holding on. I can do that. I can do that separately. But I do want to get down into that crack a little bit, just to support it a little. There we go. It's just a little superficial. It's not going to be anything great. Okay. All right, let me make sure I need to go a little bit deeper. Oh, I do. I need to go a little tiny bit bigger. I thought I had that really nailed, but I guess I'm overconfident in myself. Sometimes you can eyeball it, and sometimes you have to go back and take this a little bit more off. That should work now. Oh, well. Yep. Yep, that's going to do it. Now, when I do this, I've got to make sure that this part here, not the split, but this part here is directly on that crack right in the middle, so I'm not putting any pressure against the crack. I'm putting pressure out here so that we don't split this out. Okay? But that looks good. Alright, so now we just need to get this outside kind of prettied up a little bit, and we'll be ready to to start sanding and getting ready for the inside. Oh, look at these nice ribbons that are coming off now. Kind of a combination of ribbons and dust. Still need to do a little bit right there on the top. Let's see. Maybe I can do that without. I'm going to do sort of a round over here a little bit. See how's it coming now. Just about there. Just a little bit of a nice curve here. Move it out. And a little bit back here. This is where you kind of get to shape things the way you want them. You know? That just feels good. Yes, Mike, I'm rubbing my wood again. In case you're interested. Okay, this is almost sanded finished already. Just feeling that. Get these out of my way here. If you don't put your tools back right away, you tend to forget to put them back, and all of a sudden you got like a pile of tools here in front of you. So we'll those out of the way, and wow, what a big difference. Alright. So now let's sand this out just a little bit, and we'll flip it over, and we'll have time to do the inside of this bowl, I think, before Ryan starts up in about 45 minutes. So make sure that you stick around. Come over to see Ryan at 77 Rockets. Watch what he's turning today. It's been about a week or so since we've seen you turning something, Ryan. So I know you did one, but now when I'm sanding this, I'm trying to make sure I get rid of any of those cut lines from the gouges, because then they look like streaks going across. I'm going to take my time with this grit. And here's the end grain. The end grain is always where you have a little bit more trouble. I was looking at this bottom, I was thinking, you know, I could have put a little bit of a decorative bottom on it, but with that crack, I really don't want to chance it because it could mix something out and then it's going to look just kind of ugly and I'd have to redo the bottom again. So I think we're just going to leave that alone time, just leave it as a split. These pieces of wood create their own challenges. If you don't know what they are, then you get into them. Like the drawing, you don't know what it's like. Well, this means you don't know what it's like until you train it and start turning it. All the end grain kind of smooth out a bit. Good. Okay. Now we go to the nicer stuff. Got some other people doing some lives right now too, I guess, huh? Well, I had two intentions when I started to do this live that I was talking about last night. One was to do a little lead-in for Ryan and his show, and also to finish off that bowl that I just showed you, that olive bowl. Those are the two big things. And if any of you don't know, here I do a live on Thursdays. So Thursday, you come here on Thursdays, somewhere around 11 Pacific. We are usually live, and we will go for 2 or 3 hours doing a couple live trainings. You don't even see that CA glue part of there now. Alright. And we managed to save that knot, which I think is kind of cool. Gives it a little bit more character. Go on to this last one, then we're going to slap a little bit of finish on it just to kind of bring it up a bit, and we'll turn it around. I've been looking at this piece for about a month or so, thinking, okay, when am I going to get around to this? And this just seemed like the inspired time to do it. So, thank you for inspiring me to do this gold. I think we're all going to be happy with what it looks like when we're done. Okay. I'm going to get some of the dust off of here while I'm brushing it. Alright. This will suck this up pretty good. This tree was green and cut it down, but it's been about 4 months. It's had a chance to dry some and to adjust to the ambient humidity. I don't think we're going to have any too much long-term trouble with this. And this is sequoia. I think I mentioned that. It's a form of the redwood trees. The giant sequoias grow to be the largest and some of the oldest trees in the entire world. We have the giant sequoia forest right near where we live here. But a lot of people have these in their front yards. But over the years, they kind of become too big. And you got a 70-foot or more tree in your front yard that's over 5 feet wide at the base. It's a little intimidating when your house is right next to it in a windstorm. So eventually, some people tend to take them down. For various reasons, if the branches are starting to fall off on the house, as this one did, a couple of the large branches, about 7 or 8 foot branches, came flying down in a windstorm, and that's when, and it's right next to the bedroom of the neighbor next door, and that's when they decided, before this becomes a lawsuit of some sort, or someone gets hurt, let's just take it down. And so that's what they did, and it took them all day to do it, professionals. But quite a process. In fact, I think I've got a video on my channel that shows this tree being fallen and fell, and it's kind of interesting, the whole process. But I got some nice pieces out of it. There we go. Well, that's the color we're going to have. And that's just kind of a one sealing coat. Not gonna do much right now. It's just going to be, in fact, it's already soaking in. So I'll turn this up just a second. Do a little buff on it. There we go. So, it's going to be a pretty piece of wood. And boy, oh boy, is that smooth. Even now, at this early stage, that feels really, really nice and smooth. Okay. Well, we'll remove the face plate, turn this around, and get to it. As you can tell, I used a couple of long screws in this just in case, because it is a form of pine in a sense, and you can get tear out, although it's not as common in this as it would be in soft pine. But you are dealing with very straight-stranded wood, as opposed to that olive we were doing earlier, where you couldn't even find where the grain was. There and there. Okay. Take that off. Give me just a second here. Okay. Yeah, let's make sure you guys go to both those sites. Go to Michael's and go to Ryan's today. We're kind of starting a what do you call it? An all-day turning event here. You just hand off from one person to the next throughout the day, so you can come and go as you please. Just make sure you know where the next one is. Double check here. I'm trying to know where that crack is. Okay. Let's see how that's turning. Ah, pretty true. Good. Good. Maybe give me too much trouble, and hopefully, we can. Here. Let's see if this works. Use my BM wood turners, turning gouge. And there's going to be a little truing up to do here. I need to raise this just a bit. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. Alright, so another little run across. What am I hitting right here? Hitting something. It's the screw holes. Okay. There's always you kind of feel it as you go. That's why you always want to stop and look and make sure you know what you're getting into. I want to start establishing my edge here. Okay, let's kind of look and see where we're at on this. Still need to shave a little bit off that edge there. Okay. And then drive down in here. And we want to establish the edge. Alright, so now we've established the outer edge. Now we've cleaned up the rim. We should be ready to go. Oh man, that is still got an edge on it. Man. Okay. Well then. There. Let's see if I got it. Yes, okay. Now we got a clean edge. Okay. So now I can establish that rim. Woo. You want to do that. Clean that off. Try again. Kind of need that border to come up again. There, now I know where that's at. I can build everything off of there. Yeah, I know I'm not talking much right now. I'm just trying to follow what's going on with the wood here because I can feel there was a crack here. I can feel that, and that's what I want to be careful of. If we can get below that crack. You don't want to go into that crack. Yeah, so sometimes you can get underneath those cracks afterwards, and it's not as much of a problem, but you never know. You got to be really careful. We may be getting to where I need to sharpen this up pretty soon. Okay, let's take a look at what we got. I know I got to go back and finish that little edge right there. Still got some of the nails, those screws. Got that there, but that's going away, it looks like. It might be clear sailing after that. Let's see what I can do with this for a minute. Kind of smooth things off here. Yeah. The nice thing about the Sequoia is it does turn really smooth. So you get really nice turning times. When you're done, you can finish really nice. It's not quite like turning pine, because pine, or soft pine especially, can be a real pain in the butt to turn and get a good finish on. Because the strands are so open on the end grain, it really creates it's hard to get a good smooth finish on it. But there we go. It's interesting. So just these little branches keep popping up in here all the way through. Let's see. Let's make some of our carbide people happy. Let's try some carbide for a little bit. I always get into trouble when I use this carbide. I feel like I have to turn it hard. I have to push harder to get it. Or I tend to push harder on it than I do on some of my other ones. And we're coming up on Ryan's time here pretty soon. So in about 20 minutes, I'd like you guys to switch over to 77 rockets. And keep an eye on what Ryan's doing. Yeah, I know, 20 minutes. I saw that on my clock also. So I'm trying to get this finished so that you guys can jump over there. I don't know if I'll get it finished, but we'll get down there some. I don't want to rush the process. The last thing we need is to have something come flying off of here. But I don't want to become too aggressive here. But we are making some progress now. And we may get close. We may. Please, if you've been watching for a while, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button. Or double tap your phone screen or your screen. That would be appreciated. I know it doesn't look like it sometimes, but we do put a lot of work into making these, doing these live broadcasts, and it helps us a little bit. And subscribing would be really appreciated if you could subscribe. I'm trying to get to 3,000. So any help if you can get us along that line would be great. We're starting to make another crack. Another crack. Well. Well, we're making more progress, Michael and Brian. We're getting closer there. Yes, that crack's even getting bigger there. I'm going to have to go to my other rest here, get in there, I think. This one just isn't going to quite cut it. That meets the right little high. Okay. Just a little high. Let me get this down just a little bit more. Oop. Hard to go down too much. Yeah, see, now it's down too far. It went from being too high to too low. There we go. halfway through the bowl right now. We still got that crack. Well, that's just a persistent little crack. And it kind of lines up with the one on top here. I hope this doesn't run all the way through the bowl. I hate to get all the way to the bottom and end up with a half a bowl and the other half cracked off. So we'll have to see what happens here. I've been avoiding going to a higher speed, but I'm going to try it. Let's all say our prayers. Let's all say our prayers right now, just in case. And move this a little closer in. Like that. Okay. Please pray with me. Oops. Okay. Notice I keep switching tools because I'm trying to get different things. Like one does a little bit better job of gouging out the bottom, and another one does a better job on the sides here a little bit. I'm dealing with this crack which keeps getting significant, and now I've got a knot hole right here too that I'm dealing with. So I'm trying not to have to deal with that too much. And I'm trying to speed this up a little at the same time. This is where we have a little bit of the white knuckles. The approach to turning. feel this. Some of that crack's going away a little bit, but I can really feel that knot right there. I don't know if I can get below that knot or not. Let's try. I know we're coming up in about 5 minutes before Ryan starts his live. So I expect some of you will start going over to 77 rockets in a couple minutes. Please, before you go, if you'd please hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. And what I will do is I will, well, what I'm going to do, Michael, is I'm going to try and probably drop off here right at about the top of the hour, maybe just a little bit more, and I will try and do that as best I can. But what I would do if I have to is I will videotape. Well, I'm sorry, I will videotape. I will record finishing the bowl, and I'll post that as a separate short. So you'll be able to see what the final product looked like. But I am getting really near the bottom here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to glue that apparently at the end, I think. But I'm down to about here. I'm getting really close. Just stick around with me and hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you type in 77 rockets, or Mike, if you want to leave the link one more time to Ryan's channel, that's fine too. And also, don't forget the Whacking Shack in a couple hours after that today. It's okay for Mike to do this on a Sunday. He doesn't have to watch football because he's in Ohio and his two teams are Cleveland Commanders and the Cincinnati Bengals. And since neither of them are going to the playoffs anytime soon, he's not missing a whole lot. But for the rest of you that might have a favorite football team, put that on in the background while you're watching the wood turning. Mike's at the Whacking Shack. And as I said, Ryan is at 77 rockets, woodworking. And while I'm at it, I should mention Dave at Timber Design and Johnny's Lathe. And Michael, our moderator here, he's starting to build his channel up. And most of those guys are listed in the description on this video. So if you want to look them up, please do. We try to share as best we can. Don't like to step over each other's stuff. But this is just about the very end of the mold here. So you can kind of see what this is going to look like. Like I said, I'll film the rest of it. So we're going to end this live for now.
I want to thank all of you for being here today. And hi, Irfan, and Azu, and Marianne. Thank you all for being here today. And I'm going to go ahead and end this live, but you can see what the bowl is going to turn out as. And if you come back to my channel later this afternoon, I should have the video up on the rest of it. But you can see I'm dealing with that big crack right in here that I want to make sure I finish this off properly. And so we'll film that for you, and we'll put that up separate. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thursday,